Turning now to your wrap of your top stories on a Monday morning. We continue to follow breaking news out of Southwest Charlotte, where one person is fighting for their life after an overnight stabbing. This is video from the scene at Station Crossing Avenue near East Woodlawn and Nations Crossing Road. We know the victim has life-threatening injuries this morning, but we are still working to find out if police have any suspects in custody.
This morning, we're learning the fire at a Lancaster Walmart was set on purpose. This video is from a WCNC Charlotte viewer. Thankfully, no one was hurt. We know police have a juvenile suspect in custody. The store will remain closed until further notice.
Good Monday morning. In just a few hours, we should know more about the proposed budget for the coming year. It has things in it like $100 million for affordable housing, increases for CMPD, as well as increases for pay raises for hourly city employees. There could also be a proposed property tax increase for homeowners. Now, a lot of this has to be approved. We'll have complete details on what happens with that budget coming up both here as well as online.
And out on the roads now, starting to see some more red pile up on the traffic maps, meaning some slowdowns, especially in the usual spots. That continues for I-85 northbound towards Gastonia, also 77 northbound. And that's also where we do have that active crash at Nations Ford Road that is currently blocking the right-hand shoulder. Chris?
Well, it's May, so we have more April-like temperatures. That has to make sense. We have the mid to the upper 70s for the rest of the week. Slight chance of 80 degrees on Thursday. As for your next chances for rain, looks like Friday is the best potential. A little bit cooler by the weekend.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
And a reminder, the news does not end here. We are live all day with breaking news, weather, and traffic.
Only on WCNC Plus, where we're streaming right now. Make sure you join us.
streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. It is Monday, Cinco de Mayo. Hopefully many of you have recovered from a fun-filled weekend of concerts and festivals. We had Love and Life, Cinco de Mayo today, Kendrick Lamar over the weekend.
And the good news is the rain, it was here, but it didn't stop it. Chris joins us right now, and hopefully we're done with storms for a while.
You all made me just feel so lame because I cleared up part of the shed and did yard work.
I did wallpaper all weekend. So
Okay.
I'm worse off than you.
All right, yeah, wallpaper, clearing out a shed. Ben and I were on the same level of amazing fun, but for today it's going to be a beautiful day. Yesterday I did wash cars. No, it's not better. We are looking at more clouds over here in Louisville around Anson County, and I think you're going to see more cloud cover as you work your way towards the early afternoon before that cloud cover eventually is going to get out of here and clear out. But what a delightful start to the day. We were looking at a little valley fog happening over here in Anson County. Right now a whole lot of nothing. It's a little Doppler garbage. That's where you have the green popping up and there's no active rain. And then off towards the west we have clouds that will swing in. This is that cloudiness that I'm talking about, and I think we're going to see more of those heading into the early afternoon. And as for the rain, it's the eastern side of a low that's swinging its way to the north. That's going to bring some rain to the North Carolina mountains. After that, we're drying out for a day or so. But this guy's the trick. This little stationary front is going to squiggle and wiggle its way off into the Atlantic, and that's going to keep rain chances around the eastern side of the Carolinas, but it's not going to go away right away. The reason why? We're stuck in what's called an omega block. So this is textbook. If you know Greek letters, it looks like the letter omega, and that's the reason why it's called this. And that just means that low is going to lift a little bit further off towards the north, but there's not a lot of atmospheric movement from west to east, which is going to keep us a little bit drier for the time being. The only reason why we're seeing that rain in the mountains for you is because of that passing low. Outside of that, I think it's spotty to dry for your Tuesday and Wednesday, and an isolated shower just like Charlotte by Thursday. Here's a closer look at what that looks like. More clouds either side of lunchtime. I think you have a partly cloudy to a partly sunny sky at that point. And then it really starts to clear out. As far as the rain potential right along the Tennessee border, I think rain starts about noon to 2, could rain for several hours, and then by about 6 to 7 it's out of here, and then you dry out nicely. Monroe looking good, loving that blue sky. 76 degrees for your high across Charlotte, 71 in Hickory. Much cooler by about 15 degrees right around the Boone area, and low to the mid-70s throughout during the afternoon. Cinco de Mayo, if you're celebrating, enjoy. Cheers. You have temperatures in the mid-70s to start, and then once that sun sets, quickly falling down through the 60s into the lower 60s by about 10 p.m. This morning's been chilly. So far, our low around Charlotte, 52. I think we're just a tad bit cooler or similar by tomorrow, 50 degrees, and then even close to 40 degrees up in the mountains. And then tomorrow, 77. Winds out of the west. I think it's a little bit sunnier. That's why I'm deeming that my pick of the week. And you can see a couple of spikes here in our next 10-day precipitation chances, or just rain chances. This is Friday and next Monday as that system's rolling in. Here's the reason why I think Friday is the best chance. Not discounting that we're not going to see rain on Thursday. You have this front that dives down to the south that starts to weaken, but it's this stationary front starts moving. At this point, it's a quasi-stationary front, and that bends a little bit closer to Charlotte and then moves back down towards the south and east. Rain's not going to be this aggressive. This is just a long-range model where it doesn't have a lot of detail to it. And our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows that front should bend back to the east, but you got to be open-minded for some changes, because if that decides to stall out close to the Charlotte area, it's actually a better day at the beach and worse weather in Charlotte. But as of right now, it looks like it's just a cool down, lower 70s, drier on Saturday before rain starts to pick back up again as that front bends back again Sunday heading into Monday. But notice our high temperatures mainly in the mid to the upper 70s, not as many 80s this week. Becca, how's traffic looking as we embark into the 7 o'clock hour?
Chris, I do have some good news. That earlier crash on I-77 northbound at Nations Ford Road has completely cleared, and it was only blocking that right-hand shoulder, but that traffic flow for this time of day is already pretty heavy, so it is still a little bit slow moving, especially towards South Charlotte from York, basically inbound into Mecklenburg County. You'll run into some slowdowns there, as well as I-85 north northbound from Gastonia to Uptown Charlotte. The only other crash we have right now in Mecklenburg County is going to be this one towards the Charlotte Douglas Airport. This is on Wilkinson Boulevard near Mulberry Church Road, and just before you hit John Wilkinson Boulevard. Just keep that in mind. Also want to let you know in the Sedgefield neighborhood, they will be relocating the gas main in Park Road, and the Ideal Way intersection is going to be closed from 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. It's going to be a daily closure starting today all the way through May 20th.
7:05 now. Happening today, the city of Charlotte is expected to reveal plans for its 2026 budget, which could impact everything from your trash pickup to police response times. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live for us this morning with a look at what is in that budget and what it means for you. Richard, good morning.
Good morning to you, Lisa. Good Monday morning, everyone. Yeah, what it means to you is a lot of things. It means if you're a city employee, you could be seeing a pay increase. CMPD could see more money. Affordable housing, folks could see a possibility of getting affordable houses. But for Charlotte residents, if you own a house, you could see a property tax increase. There's a lot of different things for a lot of folks here in the budget. Tonight, city's manager Marcus Jones will present his proposed budget that will include the city's first property tax increase in 6 years. That'll happen at 6 o'clock today when he presents the fiscal year 2026 budget to city council members. The plan recommends a 1.37 cents property tax hike, funding everything from public safety and infrastructure to the arts. Among the biggest investments, $100 million for affordable housing, $50 million for new sidewalks, and a major boost to police and fire, including new ladder companies and pay raises for CMPD. There's also $20 million for traffic safety projects. That's under the Vision Zero plan, plus a new Office of Workforce Development and a 5 to 7% raise for hourly city employees. Now, this afternoon, we'll find out exactly which areas have been approved, including that proposed property tax increase. Now, if that property tax increase or the budget goes through, that could mean an increase of about $411 per year more on a house that's valued at about $300,000. Of course, we'll find out this and we'll bring you updates throughout the day on all of our social media platforms. We're live in Charlotte. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, it's worth noting that we're talking about the property tax increase here, but this would come on top of what could be a possible sales tax hike for voters that's going to be put on the ballot perhaps come this November.
Absolutely correct, Ben. As a matter of fact, good that you mentioned that. That's something the mayor was actually talking about. That is something that they're trying to do. That's, of course, has some more steps to go. That's for the transit plan that could be put on the ballot for a referendum vote for voters. So there could be actually two areas of tax increases, both a sales and a property tax, that people in Charlotte, the city of Charlotte, would be dealing with in the coming year.
All right, Richard Devane.
Thank you, Richard.
Cleanup now underway this morning after this weekend's 11 Life Festival. The three-day event wrapped up last night. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King was there throughout the weekend and shows us how not even the weather could slow down this weekend's fun.
The traffic has been tremendous, actually, been very well.
Thousands made their way in and out of the festival gates on Sunday, soaking up every last note and moment of the music and festivities.
We got 11 Life bandanas, check me out.
Just outside of the action in 7th Street Market and along the streets,
We have $5 hot dogs.
local shops and small businesses waited, eager to catch the wave of foot traffic.
Basically, the whole festival was inside of this building, so it got pretty hectic.
Many vendors say they spent days preparing for the rush, stocking up and strategizing for what could turn into one of their busiest weekends.
I chose bandanas and towels because it's hot and people sweat and they're cool to look at and they're cool to carry around.
We have to make a lot more of the condiments that go with the chili and the slaw, with the hot dogs. So that takes a lot of time. With the owner, she makes them homemade.
And the planning paid off. Some businesses say they saw sales double compared to a regular weekend.
Yesterday, I sold all out of my bandanas and a lot of my towels.
We have probably doubled, yes, what we would make.
Tournament, is that what we...
That was Anna King reporting. We're taking a live look now at the White House this morning, where the president is threatening new tariffs this morning for the movie industry. It comes after he met with NBC News Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker to talk about a variety of issues, including inflation and tariffs. NBC's Bianca Ficini has the latest from Washington.
Logically, I mean, the fake news was
from the impact of tariffs.
The tariffs are going to make us rich. We're going to be a very rich country.
To the potential for a recession.
Anything can happen, but I think we're going to have the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to have the greatest economic boom in history.
Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker covered a lot of ground in her exclusive interview with President Donald Trump, starting with the economy.
I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job.
The president defended his tariff policy, which polling shows most Americans remain skeptical of, and analysts say could lead to higher prices. Small businesses in particular are asking for relief, but Trump says it isn't necessary.
They're not going to need it.
Okay.
They're going to make so much money.
The president has said immigration is the most important issue of his administration. He told Welker he is fulfilling his campaign promise with mass deportations. But critics say the administration is deporting people without due process and violating the Constitution.
Some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
The sit-down comes just days after the president marked 100 days in office, where the latest NBC News poll shows his approval rating sliding from his inauguration. Only 45% of Americans approve of the job he's doing.
And some other key takeaways. Trump says he doesn't plan on removing Fed Chair Jerome Powell, but does want to see the Fed lower interest rates. And Sunday night, the president announced he wants to reopen Alcatraz. The former federal prison is now a national park. In Washington, Bianca Ficini, NBC News.
And Bianca just mentioned that, but this morning, President Trump says he is directing the government to reopen and expand Alcatraz. The president says it would, quote, house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. The notorious former prison on California Island has been closed since 1963. It currently operates as a tourist site.
Happening today, all flags at North Carolina state facilities will be at half-staff. It's in honor of National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Day. This is video from a service over the weekend in Maryland. 11 North Carolina firefighters were among those honored. One of those was Battalion Chief Tony Garrison. He died last September while trying to rescue neighbors during Hurricane Helene.
Expect to see longer lines at the DMV across the country today as the last-minute rush continues ahead of Wednesday's Real ID deadline. That's it, May 7th. You'll need that new ID to fly domestically or get into federal buildings. A few reminders, though. If you don't get one by Wednesday, you can still use your passport, green card, military ID, global entry card. And if you don't know if you have a real ID, just check your card. It should have a star, a gold one or a black one in the corner. Finally, before you go get your appointment, check online to make sure you have all the documents you need.
7:13 now happening today. Jury selection set to get underway in just hours for the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Last week, Diddy rejected a plea deal from federal prosecutors. However, the exact details of that deal have not been released. The disgraced hip-hop mogul has pleaded not guilty to charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Scary moments in Brazil over the weekend where police foiled a bomb plot at a Lady Gaga concert. As NBC's Camila Bernal reports, the attackers wanted a specific group that they were targeting.
Authorities in Brazil on high alert after a bomb threat at Lady Gaga's concert was averted. Police calling it Operation Fake Monster, saying this was a coordinated attempt at mass murder. 2 suspects, including the alleged ringleader, under arrest. Police saying this was a plan on digital platforms to commit a bomb attack with homemade explosive artifacts and Molotov cocktails, adding it mainly targeted the LGBTQ community. The goal, according to police, terror for fame on social media. But the plan foiled just in time, keeping the more than 2 million people that attended the free concert safe
Gaga, we love you!
Lady Gaga spokesperson saying in part, prior to and during the show, there were no known safety concerns nor any communication from the police or authorities to Lady Gaga regarding any potential risks. And this, not the first time a major pop concert has been targeted. Taylor Swift avoiding tragedy and canceling her Eras tour shows in Vienna last year. Austrian police citing concerns of a terrorist attack. And in 2017, Ariana Grande's Manchester show ended in bloodshed after a bomb killed 22 fans. In Brazil, authorities say prevention paid off. Camila Bernal, NBC News.
All right, take a look at this new video this morning out of Kentucky. Some scary and tense moments there. You see a semi-truck dangling off a bridge in Louisville after that driver lost control and hit the rail. Amazingly, officials say the driver was in good spirits as he was hoisted onto the ground. It then took crews about 2 hours to pull that cab back from the brink. I'd be so nervous and panicking.
Panicking is right. Goodness.
My goodness. Glad he's okay.
No. 7:15 right now on WCNC Plus. The skies have cleared up from the weekend showers, but some of us may be able to see a different kind of shower. Meteors, Chris.
And the Eta Aquarids, not one that you probably have heard of that much, because honestly, if you are on social media, you might have said, hey, don't miss this meteor shower. Being honest with you, I think that's more clickbait, because oftentimes you'll have an advertised 10 to 15 per hour meteor shower. Well, likely you're only going to see 2 to 5, maybe 10 if you're on top of the mountains, literally on top. This is not really a well-known meteor shower, even though the internet may say otherwise, but you'll still be able to see a shooting star or meteor really through May 28th. And how I know, my director, Rusty, I swear always sees a shooting star within a couple of days of the peak of one of these, and he didn't see it. And that's how underwhelming this one is. So I'm going to go by that. I'm going to call it my Rusty meter. 64% is also the fullness of the moon, so that's also going to blur some of those out as well. Here's your meteor shower calendar, the ones to look forward to. So coming up, the next one is going to be in July. Those ones really aren't as impressive either. I'm just actually going to move forward to August. One of my favorites is the Perseid meteor shower. This is claimed as one of the best by NASA. Really, it's number 2 to the Geminids that happens in December. It's a little bit warmer, so I think it's a little bit more of a pleasant watch. And the Orionids, October 22nd to the 23rd, I would say that's the number 3 best that we see each and every year, even though the Lyrids are a close second. And going forward, I also want to teach you one more thing. Meteoroid versus meteorite. Well, what's a meteor? Well, as long as it's burning in the sky, that is a meteor. Now, their meteoroid versus meteorite, well, you might find a meteorite. So once it actually hits the ground, it's meteorite. Meteoroid is anything that's in outer space. So when you're seeing it across the sky, meteor, if you actually find the rock, well, good for you. It could be worth something. That's a meteorite. So quick little meteor terminology there. Now we've all raised our meteor IQ. Back to meteorology. We have temperatures right around 50 degrees. We have a range about the mid to the upper 50s going forward. So tomorrow morning looks to be just a tad bit cooler than what we had this morning. So another chilly start. 76 degrees will be your high. Yesterday we had a high right around 74 degrees, so a little bit warmer. Here's the change that we have going forward. So we're stuck in an atmospheric block, so things aren't going to move around all that much. This low moves its way to the north, but it still has this stationary front that's hovering right along the shoreline. As long as you have a front, it's draped across the area with the right amount of moisture, it's going to fire up rain. However, we don't really have the moisture for the time being in that oh so nice range, feeling more like early spring or more like that fall reminiscence. And then we're still just below that sticky level for Wednesday and Thursday, but that starts to change heading into Friday. And what do you know? What a coinky dink. Once you get to Friday, that's the only day that we have a chance for scattered rain showers. And the reason why, this front gets a little bit closer to us before it starts to retreat. So there's still a lot of uncertainty in the extended forecast where things are going to go. But one thing we do know for certain, today and tomorrow will be dry, mid to the upper 70s, just shy of 80 degrees. If we are going to hit 80, Thursday is going to be the day that happens, and that front is going to push its way towards the east, bringing us to the lower 70s on the weekend. The only change that I see is that Friday could be more of a washout if that front plants and stops right over us. That would also affect our weekend forecast, but for right now, it looks like it is going to retreat for the time being. That's your weather forecast. Now let's get a check with Becca to see how our morning commute's behaving.
All right, out on the roads now as we take a live look outside from I-77 and I-85. Both very busy interstates for that morning rush hour commute, so do expect that to add several extra minutes as you venture outdoors this morning. Right now, drive times to Matthews to Charlotte Uptown, 24 minutes. Salisbury, 50, Waxhaw, 39, and Belmont still steady at 24 minutes. Big picture, here's the colors that we see on the traffic map. Oranges as you make your way from Huntersville down into the northern Charlotte area, especially on 77 northbound. Got a couple of new incidents out there, including this one. This is over towards Park Road and Arbor Point Drive, where I'm seeing delays in both directions. And then in addition, just north of Uptown, Roslyn's Ferry Road and Lakewood Avenue, also seeing some slowdowns associated with that crash. Do want to let you know that there will be some construction happening in Uptown for the new Panthers practice facility. This is going to close Cedar Street both directions between Clarkson and First Street starting 9 this morning and will reopen by June 20th.
It's Monday trivia time. Did you know that Charlotte, North Carolina actually had a huge military base? Camp Green had 6,000 acres with 60,000 troops. The year 1917 to 1919, during World War I, Camp Green, and by the way, off Wilkinson Boulevard, there's actually a Camp Green Street. This military base went all the way from that point to the Catawba River. It was a huge military base. That's your Monday trivia. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Thanks, Larry. 7:29 now. Time to connect the dots. When we make the news make sense. For many Americans, Cinco de Mayo is an excuse to engorge on margaritas and Mexican food, but it also holds an important historic significance.
Cinco de Mayo is not Mexico's Independence Day. In fact, it actually marks one key battle during a war with France. Let's connect the dots. Back in 1862, a small Mexican army beat back a much larger French force in the town of Puebla. It was a symbolic victory, showing resistance against a European empire trying to take over. The battle didn't end the war, but it gave Mexico hope, and it's why May 5th is still celebrated in Puebla with parades and reenactments. In the U.S., Cinco de Mayo has taken on a different meaning. It's become a day to celebrate Mexican culture, music, and food, especially in cities with big Mexican-American communities. Activists helped raise awareness of the holiday in the 1960s, seeing it as a victory of indigenous triumph. But many still confuse it with Mexican Independence Day, which is actually in September. And that's connecting the dots.
And a lot of folks here in Charlotte started their fiesta early this weekend in South Park. The Cinco de Mayo festival featured live music, really good food, and fun for just about everybody. Organizers say interest in the event continues to grow every single year.
We've been doing it for so many years in Charlotte, and we've been seeing the growth of the interest for the festival, so we added more activities.
This was the year's fifth year for the event and the second year there in South Park.
And yesterday's weather was perfect for the 15th annual Kings Drive Art Walk. Visitors enjoyed art, crafts, music, and more. The spring festival highlights fine and emerging artists while also bringing the community together. I think I drove by that and wasn't sure what was going on.
You were sure? Now you know.
Now I know, yes. All right, well, it is Met Gala Monday. Tonight, the stars will be out in New York City, hosted by co-chairs Pharrell Williams, Coleman Domingo, A$AP Rocky, and race car driver Lewis Hamilton. This year's theme is Tailored for You, in connection with the museum's new exhibition, Superfine, Tailoring Black Style. It will celebrate Black dandyism from the 18th century to its revival in the Harlem Renaissance. And today we are bringing the Met Gala to the Queen City. Charlotte designers and guests showed up in style for Superfine at the Gant, a fashion experience celebrating Black dandyism. It was inspired by the Met Gala. This event honored the elegance, detail, and personal expression rooted in African American style, a tradition that traces back to the 1700s. Who are you looking forward to seeing tonight?
You know, Cardi B typically usually brings it.
She does.
So
yes.
I'll be interested in seeing what she does. Coleman Domingo just always looks fantastic.
There's a level of expectation for what will he do. I want to see Pharrell.
Pharrell's kept a low profile for a while, so I would love to see him come out and do something fantastic.
And Lewis Hamilton, I mean, I'm sure he's going to look great. I'll just say that.
I don't disagree, actually.
Okay, good.
7:24 right now. Up next, right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to take a quick break as we take live pictures right now over Uptown. Coming up in just about a minute, we'll have a look at your Monday forecast and your Monday commute as well. And then we're back with the headlines at 7:30 right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. 54 degrees. Current point here in Charlotte. So it's the warm spot. Still 49 in Hickory and then 50 degrees right around Monroe. We're all going to warm up to right around the mid 70s. Better chance at 80 degrees down towards the south and east right around Chirra. And then the lower 70s up in the foothills. And then much cooler for you in Boone and the mountains. The reason why, more clouds and also a chance for rain. The Charlotte area, you are staying dry for at least the next 2 days. Very, very isolated rain chance here on Wednesday night. I don't think it's really until Thursday night, Friday that we have really a big uptick in our potential for rain. And then again at the back end of our forecast late Sunday heading into Monday. So our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, you see mainly the mid to the upper 70s, not too many 80s on there. Thursday's the only day that I think really has a shot of getting to 80 plus. And then heading the weekend, once that front starts to retreat, we should be a little bit cooler in the lower 70s. So feeling a little bit more May-like going forward. Best chance for rain shaping up to be right around Friday for the time being. As for my pick of the week, this Tuesday. Becca, what do we need to know traffic-wise?
Chris, no major issues as you venture outdoors as we take a live look outside from one of the busy spots this morning. That is going to be I-77 at Woodlawn Road. Both those north and southbound lanes, though, looking good. Do want to let you know of this disabled vehicle that is impacting outbound westbound Boulevard at Moorhead Street, currently blocking one lane of traffic.
streaming live right now at 7:30 here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Happening today, millions of Americans could start seeing their tax refunds and paychecks taken by the federal government. That's because collections on defaulted student loans are starting back up for the first time since the pandemic.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live with what you need to know and what it means for your wallet. Destiny?
Yeah, a lot of financial consequences from this, and it'll affect a lot of people. 5 million people, or rather more than 5 million people who have loans that are in default, and then another 4 million who are late on student loan payments by more than 90 days, putting them at risk of putting them at risk if they end up paying or waiting to pay even longer. Right now, for the first time since the pandemic, the Department of Education is once again allowed to take money out of paychecks, withhold tax refunds, and seize federal benefits from borrowers who haven't made payments in over 270 days. The Education Department says it's already begun contacting borrowers with options, including income-driven repayment plans and loan rehabilitation, which can stop collections and eventually remove the default status after at least 9 months of consistent payments. This new student loan landscape is not only impacting longtime borrowers, but also students and recent graduates already feeling the strain of a tough economy.
If they're not given that much grace after college, and it'll be really hard to actually survive, especially with this economy.
I'm worried about the future, to be honest. I mean, I'm doing all this so that I can get a career, so I can, live in this world, but things aren't really going so well.
The Education Department is using the Department of Treasury's offset program to collect on student loan debt. And under this program, the government can withhold entire tax refunds. They can also withhold up to 15% of a federal worker's disposable pay. And then the Office of Federal Student Aid is planning to send notices about wage garnishment later this summer. Ben, Lisa.
So, Destiny, people will get those notifications to find out if they're in default. And you talked more about the available help for them. So there are different types of plans that can help them repay these loans.
That's right. So the Office of Federal Student Aid should have sent a notification or sent communication to people who have their loans in default, and that should notify them that they need to do something, either make a monthly payment, sign up for monthly payments, sign up for an income-driven or income-based repayment plan, or loan rehabilitation, which again, that means that the default status can be removed if you make 9 months of consistent payment. And then if you do sign up for those scheduled monthly payments, they say that you have to send the Department of Education your recent federal 1040 tax return, and that applies if there's been no change in your marital status or income. So lots of steps to follow to get this remedied.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much for that. I think a lot of people maybe just got comfortable or used to not paying them during the pandemic and afterwards, and now they have to make that monthly payment. As they knew the day was coming, but
and now the day's come. All right.
Yeah.
Destiny, thanks. All right, let's get another check of your weather impact forecast with Chris. And hey, it's better than Saturday's forecast.
See, it's all about perspective. Now, if you lived yesterday, it's going to be very similar to that. Check out our Dallas camera. Lots of blue sky. We're going to have a little more cloud cover by the end of the morning heading into the afternoon. But all in all, a delightful day. I think you have a lot more sunshine to end the afternoon. So our Mr. Sparky Carolina Camera Network looking great. Now time for our magic show, Presto Changeo. The changes that you can expect today. The feel, it's actually feeling super dry today. It's a bit warmer also compared to yesterday by about 2 to 5 degrees over the next couple of days, really ranging in the mid to the upper 70s for the next 7 days or so. And then our rain chances only for the mountains, and we'll get to that. It's all because of this low that's spinning over towards the west. So this cutoff low is going to continue its venture off towards the north, and it's dealing with some drier air. We're on the drier air side of things, so good news. But there's also a front that's attached to it. A lot of thunderstorms offshore, but this front doesn't really move anywhere. Whenever it turns turns to this red and blue. That's a stationary front, and it's a quasi-stationary front, meaning it's kind of moving around, and it's going to really just be back and forth across the Carolinas. So our forecast is completely dependent on what that front does. Here are our rain chances today. I think it's really opening up between about noon and 2 for you in Banner Elk, Boone, right around Jefferson, just naming a few. Morganton, you're right on the cusp, so pretty much anyone north of I-40 here in Burke and Caldwell County, you will have a chance for rain at some point in the early to mid-afternoon, and then it starts to get out of here as we work our way into the early evening hours. Charlotte, whole lot of nothing, and I think we have a breathtaking sunset on the way. Now, our Monroe camera looking pretty good. High temperatures today, right around 76. Yesterday, you're at 74, so not a big difference. Lower to the mid-70s throughout the afternoon, as I mentioned. More sunshine to end the day. It's also Cinco de Mayo, however you're celebrating, or if not, this is your evening forecast. Temperatures are leveling out to either side of 70 degrees by 7 o'clock. Lower 60s under a calm wind. And when it's clear out, when it's calm out, that maximizes our cool down. So tonight will be one of the cooler mornings that we have this week, actually the coolest. This morning's low, 52. We're already past that. Now we're up to 54 around Charlotte. Others got much cooler, though, by the way. So you in Gastonia, you dropped down into the upper 40s. I even saw a 47-degree point over for you in Shelby. So just note, we're going to be in the same range, anywhere from 45 to 50 degrees for our bottom as the sun's rising up tomorrow. But tomorrow, in the mid to the upper 70s, is going to be a great day. 1, we have a little bit more sunshine. 2, the winds are just a tad bit lighter. It's warmer in general. That's why I'm making tomorrow my pick of the week. We have our best chance for rain on Friday and Monday, but you are going to see an uptick in at least a potential for rain starting on Thursday. So I think as soon as Wednesday hits, we have more clouds. Thursday, clouds could turn a little bit darker. This is where things start to come into play. We have this one front fades out over our area. There's that stationary front. I told you it's going to be a tricky bugger, and that's going to dance its way further down towards the south. So I think we have a much higher chance for rain down in South Carolina, back and forth, doing one of these. The biggest change that I could see here is it decides to stop and visit the Queen City. If it does that, we have prolonged rain chances heading into the weekend, but as of right now, it looks like it's going to backtrack out into the Atlantic. So our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast keeps temperatures anywhere from 72 to 79 this week. Much cooler into the weekend. Again, best chance for rain at least over the next 7. This coming Friday, perfectly dry over the next 2 days. Becca is usually busy at this point. Hopefully it's not so far. What's the status?
Still just a little bit busy out there as we take a live look outside. A very picturesque view from I-77 at Griffith Street, right along that Iredell and Mecklenburg County line. Traffic looking good there. A little bit slow as we head towards York County. This is a live look outside from I-77 near Fort Mill and Gold Hill Road. And it's the northbound lanes that get especially packed as drivers head inbound into Mecklenburg County. So do keep that in mind. Got a couple of crashes out there, including this one. This is impacting Roslyn's Ferry Road at the intersection of Lakewood Avenue, causing just a few minor delays, and have this obstruction on the road. This is towards East Charlotte, being reported on W.T. Harris Boulevard at Duncroft Lane, likely an area that you'll want to avoid. Zooming out, big picture, still a little bit slow if you're coming from Gaston inbound into Mecklenburg County on I-85 northbound.
It is a big week for the Catholic Church as 135 cardinals gather in Vatican City for the Papal conclave.
The centuries-old tradition to choose a new head of the Catholic Church starts Wednesday. NBC's Jay Gray reports.
For the Catholic cardinals who've gathered in their holy city, the task they face is as difficult as it is important. Choosing from among them the next leader of their faith.
We are praying for a new pope.
Praying, preparing for the conclave, and talking, though not so much publicly.
It's okay.
The substance, saved for private discussions.
There's a lot of meetings, both formal meetings and what we call congregations, but there's also, even more important, the informal meetings over dinner, coffee, drinks, where they get a chance to get to know each other.
This will be the largest and most diverse conclave in the history of the Catholic Church and will be undoubtedly influenced by the man they're trying to replace.
I think there's a number of issues that the cardinals are looking at as they go into the conclave. First of all is the legacy of Pope Francis.
I'm sure the Pope will be as Franciscus, the same vision, the same dreams.
What is not sure is who that may be. He says that he's looking for the spirit to give him an idea, as the world later this week looks for the white smoke. The small chimney has been moved atop the Sistine Chapel over the week, and that smoke will indicate that there is a new leader of the Catholic Church, the world's largest Christian denomination with more than 1.4 billion members. At the Vatican, I'm Jay Gray. Back to you now.
Well, ahead of that sacred event, an AI-generated image, this one you see right here from the president, is stirring up some controversy this morning. So the president first posted it on his Truth Social platform late Friday, but then it was reposted by the official White House Twitter account. The photo comes after President Trump joked last week that he'd like to be Pope. Many Christians calling out the photo this morning, saying it's a bit distasteful. A local lifeline in Union County facing funding crisis this morning, like so many are. Right now, Common Heart helps feed 8,000 people every single month. But with their federal funding cut in half, they fear there might not be enough to go around in the months to come. So if you want to help, Common Heart says the best way that you can do is reach out to a local representative. Donations can be dropped off at one of their 13 pantries. Charlotte's tourism industry getting a colorful new addition. The popular La Zoom comedy bus tour rolling into the Queen City.
The tours promise to showcase Charlotte's history and culture with a unique comedic twist. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us live this morning. Now, Miles, these have already had a lot of success in Nashville. I'm sorry, Asheville, not Nashville.
You're absolutely Asheville. You're okay. Yeah. Good morning, Lisa and Ben. Yeah, in Asheville, La Zoom has actually been having similar bus tours in that area for nearly 20 years. But now they're bringing their talents and their entertainment here to the Queen City, offering a unique brand of comedy tours throughout Charlotte. It's an experience through Charlotte that is sure to make you laugh. The unmistakable purple buses feature open-air seating and plenty of character.
We really show off the city and show off comedy as well.
Kyle Samples, the director of marketing and sales with the La Zoom, says that one of their tours even ties in music.
Really a triple entendre. So we put a 4-piece local Charlotte band on the bus. We rotate through about 8 to 10 right now. We get you on the bus, buy a ticket, get on the bus. You can bring your own beer and wine if you want to. And we drive you around, you listen to great music, and we stop at 3 different local breweries and let you out to drink.
These 90-minute experiences blend history with humor, helping new and long-standing Charlotte teens create what the company calls interactive theater on wheels.
We go through a lot of the really cool, interesting neighborhoods that you're not going to see driving around or walking around by yourself. And you also get this sense of the artistic community that Charlotte has to offer.
Now let's say that music isn't really your jam and that's something that you really didn't want to partake in when it comes to that bus tour, where they also offer other bus tours, including a ghost tour. And they're also adding this summer a Hey Charlotte tour, which is also going to be geared towards even offering and even expanding to even younger guests as well. Now for more information on that, you can make sure to download our WCNC Charlotte mobile app, clicking on this story and getting all that information when it comes to those bus tours that they are offering throughout the Charlotte area here, Lisa and Ben. But really, what an awesome experience and really a unique one as well, being able to not only offer those unique bus tours, but also expanding and even giving those platforms for local bands and even expanding to local breweries here as well.
Yeah, so if somebody's interested, where do the buses pick up and how can folks actually get the tickets?
Yeah, good question there, Ben. As far as where the pickup and drop-off is here in Charlotte, it's actually here in Camp North End. They have a bus that picks up people just over there near Free Range Brewing. And again, it's a 90-minute tour, and it picks you up, takes you around Charlotte, stops at a couple of places as well, and then drops you right back off here in Camp North End. And again, as far as getting that information for those tickets, go to our website, download our app, click on that link. It'll take you to where their website is as well, and getting all that information and more.
I think the appeal for this is if you're a longtime Charlottean, if you're new to the city, you can learn something new and have some fun doing it.
That's right.
All right, Miles, thank you so much.
All right, check this out. In this economy, a lot of people are looking for ways to make money, and one side hustle that's gaining a lot of traction right now is called petfluencing. NBC's Vicki Nguyen has more.
When people see me, they say, OMG, I want one.
Fig the tortoise has more than 3 million followers across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
I've got Fig with me today.
While he's the star, 5 cats, along with a Dutch Shepherd and a Euromastix lizard, make up the menagerie for the account Through the Leaves, earning enough money to keep Chastity Hobbs and her husband employed full-time since 2022.
Last year, we made around $400,000.
Wow.
It really, really surprised me.
Why did you decide to share with folks how much you're earning as a petfluencer?
Well, when I was a vet assistant, I had 1 cat at the time, and I could barely afford his vet bills when he got sick. So when I got into this and realized just the potential that there is to earn, and now I can rescue more animals.
Hobbs, who started her career as a vet assistant, then a travel blogger, says it's not about the money.
My whole mission is just to help educate people on proper care for, exotic pets, normal, regular cats and dogs.
And special needs pets, too. Her 3 blind cats, who lost their sight to disease as kittens, sat in a shelter for 3 years before she adopted them.
People should adopt more special needs pets. They're really no different than any other cat.
Globally, there were about 3.5 million active petfluencer accounts as of January of 2025, according to Sprout Social. But unlike fashion or beauty content, posting about your pets requires patience.
How many hours do you put into this each day or each week?
Typically, I'll spend about 2 or 3 hours in the morning doing all the pet chores. I make all of their food homemade. I usually work between like 4 and 5 hours a day, and then back to pet chores at the end of the day.
Pet content has always been popular online, according to Sulafa Zadani, who studies global internet culture.
Even from the 90s, the earliest memes had like hamsters and cats. We had the Can I Has Cheeseburger and Lolcats memes. We had Nyan Cat in the 2010s and Grumpy Cat, God rest his soul.
She applauds creators who try to be transparent with their audiences about how and why they make their content.
The transparency, I think, is very informative and frankly humbling sometimes, because while we're seeing these huge numbers that might be shocking to some of us, once we see the amount of work that goes into it, I think it begins to also make sense.
What are you doing up here? Don't ignore me.
What do you think it is about your videos that attracts followers?
People love French bulldogs.
Allie Mortensen started her account, French Bulldog Behavior, back in 2023. She says she made about $6,000 last year from sponsored posts, making ads for brands, and commissions from linking to their products on Amazon.
They can pay you anywhere between $300 per post to $1,000 per post. It really depends on your engagement.
Money talks. Money talks. While she doesn't plan to quit her full-time job as an aerospace engineer, Mortensen says petfluencing allows her to help dog owners.
A lot of people aren't educated prior to becoming Frenchie owners. So providing a lot of content that was educational about how to care for your Frenchie and provide them the best life was really where I started seeing a ton of traction and engagement on my videos.
Next up for Hobbs, launching pet enrichment products like this cat puzzle toy.
What is it that you hope these accounts do for the public?
I really hope it just inspires people to take better care of their pets, provide their pets with enrichment and just a really happy life.
Vicky Nguyen, NBC News.
Wow.
Fascinating, right?
I mean, the money she makes. I mean,
that's a lot of money.
You know, that's a lot of money. And I'm sure it is a lot of work.
Oh, of course.
Yes, it is.
And people, I mean, keep in mind, if you're an influencer, you're basically just a paid spokesperson for different products you may or may not like.
And you've got to create that content and keep churning it out.
That's right.
I just think about the time where I just try to get my dog to take a picture. And then, meanwhile, you're following around said dog or cat for that long period.
Right.
Yeah, and it always seems like the grass is greener on the other side. But yeah, a lot of work goes into it, and you have to have that right niche. Yeah. Well, maybe this animal here for our cat of the day, I think so. Seaweed.
That's a great name.
Well, Seaweed is brand new to Emma's family, but I think
great ears.
Yeah, I know, and plus Seaweed is a very memorable name, so you can follow Seaweed at I don't know. I'll ask Emma. We're not there yet. And if you want to feature your pet, all you have to do is just scan this QR code. I do it every morning at 6:25ish on WCNC, but you're going to see it pop up here and there on WCNC Plus. Rolling forward, we have some sunshine, actually a lot of sunshine, wall-to-wall status over here in Lylesville. It's been actually kind of cool. You've been seeing some of that valley fog off in the distance. And then swinging over, this is one of my favorite cameras, High Brighton Mountain, looking gorgeous right now. Woo! You are looking at a picture-perfect day over there. Now, it is going to get cloudier up here a little bit later on in the day because we're going to see our next chance for rain. The cloudiest part of the day, I think, is really going to be close to around that lunchtime hour. I could even see a darker cloud or two. Seeing that little green popping up here, I would not be surprised if maybe you have a sprinkle at best, but I think we're way too dry. At most, I think you might have a cloud. Oh, is that going to rain? And then likely you are going to be good. Now, once you get to about the 4 to 7 o'clock hour, that's where that rain is getting out of there for the mountains. But Charlotte, you're expected to be dry for the course of the day. High temperatures in the mid-70s. But I want to jump ahead and talk about our rain chances. So our rain chances, nothing today, nothing tomorrow. Becomes isolated on Wednesday and Thursday. Whenever you see an isolated, I'm usually talking about 20% of the area. Sorry about that. Could see rain, but then once you get to about Thursday, I think this is getting a little bit higher, better scattered potential heading into Friday, and it's all because of this stationary front. This stationary front is actually just east of us right now, and it's going to bend down towards the south, stays there, comes back. Whenever it heads the opposite direction, it's called a backdoor front, and the closer it is to the Charlotte area, the more rain we're going to see. It feeds off the daytime heating and the moisture that gets driven up, and that's going to be the big question. If it lingers a little bit longer for the weekend, we're looking at a wetter weekend. If it bends back towards the south and east, it's going to be a wetter weekend along the shoreline. So if you're going to the beach, keep that in mind. But then we're also going to be looking at some rain chances that are higher down in South Carolina. So our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast showing the mid to the upper 70s all week long. We should be in the upper 70s this time of year, so at least we're slightly below normal or where we should be this time of year. Best chance for rain looks to be Friday this week, at least so far. Now let's check with Becca to see how traffic's behaving than the last time we talked about it.
All right, well, now on the roads, now as we look at big picture, you'll see lots of congestion pretty much everywhere you look. So if you are headed out early this morning, allow yourself plenty of extra time as you step outdoors. And here comes the crash icons all across the Charlotte metro area. Want to get to some of the newest ones. This one is over towards South and on South Boulevard at Magnolia Avenue. Also seeing some slowdowns there. And then over towards Druid Circle at Statesville Avenue. That intersection also has reports of a crash there. Do want to let you know of a thing that will be impacting Sedgefield. This is going to be a relocation for a gas main. Park Road and Ideal Way. That intersection is going to be closed starting 9 a.m. today. It's going to be a daily closure through 5 p.m. all the way through May 20th.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's also when we celebrate Mother's Day. Recently, I spoke to 2 Charlotte-based therapists who say sometimes moms need more than cards and flowers to be celebrated. Sometimes they need an avenue for maternal mental health.
Raising Resilience Counseling began when founders Tiffany Bishop and Whitney Coble noticed a trend among mothers and what was their child therapy practice.
Those challenges and difficulties were correlated to their challenges and difficulties in parenting, which then of course showed up in their child's behavior.
The 2 therapists who met while attending college realized there was a need for therapy services with a focus on maternal mental health. They shifted their practice to focus on helping mothers improve their mental well-being.
It just opened a new world. We were just privy to all this information about maternal mental health conditions, the prevalence, especially for Black women, how often Black women experience these perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, but they're also least likely to receive support. And so it just really hit home for us in personal experiences and the work that we were already doing.
Jamara Marchman is a new mom and a new client of Raising Resilience. She sought out a safe space as she begins a new journey of parenthood.
I had to really step back and realize, how can I continue to pour into myself so I can be the best mom that I can be for my child? But I don't think I was fully prepared. So just to find resources like Raising Resilience and other that are intentional about building community and letting women just let down and breathe and really talk about how challenging motherhood could be, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful, it's fulfilling, but also it's without hard work. And so just to be in a safe place to really just let out, vent,
This Mother's Day weekend, Raising Resilience will bring moms and moms-to-be together with an event they're calling Nurture and Bloom.
We think about parenthood and motherhood as a flower because it takes your input to watch it grow, but also when we neglect ourselves and don't show up for ourselves, that plant reflects that. A lot of times, like you said, the cards, the flowers, those things are nice, but it's not really a time to self-reflect around, you know, who I am as a mother, what are the things I've given myself grace and patience for.
The Nurture and Bloom event is happening this Friday and Saturday. For more information, including how to get tickets, find this story on the WCNC mobile app.
This Mental Health Month, we are seeking solutions to the mental health crisis. On Tuesday, May 13th, that's a week for tomorrow, we're hosting a phone bank where you can call and talk to mental health experts from local organizations. The phone bank's going to be taking calls that day from 11 to 1 and then from 4 to 7:30. It's important to talk about.
Certainly
the mere
is.
act of talking about these things, I think, helps.
And having a space where you feel comfortable and finding the right resources is incredibly important.
And the first step is often the hardest one.
Yes.
Let's take a quick look right now over Uptown Charlotte as you start your weekday. Live pictures right there over Uptown. Chris standing by with a look at your weather. Becca standing by with a look at your Monday morning commute. All that coming your way and the headlines at 8 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everyone. Temperature's now up to 58 degrees, so temperature's going to be racing over the coming hours to get up to about 70 degrees heading into the early afternoon. We had the lower to the mid-70s today. Yesterday was at 74, got 76 today, so that's about 10 degrees cooler than what we had on Friday, but most of the weekend's in the 70s, and that's pretty much what you can expect going forward. Rainfall chances isolated Wednesday and Thursday, but Friday right now looks to be the best chance for rain going forward. We have the mid to the upper 70s all week long. Thursday trending to be the warmest day, right around 80 degrees, and then Friday, that's where rain looks to be the most widespread, especially in the eastern side of the Carolinas. A little bit cooler heading into the weekend. Highs only in the lower 70s with limited rain chance before they pick back up heading into next Monday. Becca, what's going on for our morning commute?
All right, well, we are in the thick of rush hour traffic as we take a live look outside. This is I-85 at the Brookshire Boulevard, and it's one of the spots that's actually looking fantastic at this hour. Can't say the same, though, especially over towards Gastonia. I-85 northbound, very slow as you make your way inbound into Uptown Charlotte. Also 77 northbound from York inbound into Mecklenburg County. Here are the active crashes we have across the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. This first one is going to be impacting the intersection of Rosl's Ferry Road at Lakewood Avenue, and then the second one going to be impacting South Boulevard at Magnolia Avenue. This is right in the intersection. You'll want to avoid the area.
8 o'clock now on your Monday morning. Thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Happening today, the city of Charlotte expected to reveal plans for its 2026 budget, which could impact everything from your trash pickup to police response times.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live for us this morning with a look at what is in this budget and what it means for the taxpayers. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning to you guys. Happy Monday morning, everyone. Basically, what it could mean for taxpayers is you'd have to dig a little bit deeper if you are a property owner here in the city of Charlotte. Now, as we look at video, we can tell you that basically this is all because of a proposed budget that we should be learning a lot more about today. In it, we should learn more when Marcus Jones, that is the city manager, I should say, will introduce that proposed budget for the fiscal year 2025-26. Now, in it, that budget proposal that he'll present to the city council, the plan recommends for a 1.37% sales of property tax hike, funding everything from public safety and infrastructure to the arts. Among the biggest investments, $100 million for affordable housing, $50 million for new sidewalks, and major boosts to police and fire. Now, there's also pay raises for CMPD. In the budget, there's also $20 million for traffic safety projects. That's under the Division 0, plus a new office of workforce development and a 5 to 7% pay increase for hourly city employees. Now, this afternoon, we'll find out exactly what areas have been approved, including that proposed property tax. Guys?
And Richard, we should say that I mean, and this will come down to voters, but you got a property tax, but voters could very well, if city leaders have their way, also approve a sales tax for the transit plan.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. That's something that we actually heard the mayor comment on just a couple days ago. There is the possibility that if everything goes as planned, that city leaders want to include a sales tax increase that voters would have the opportunity to vote on coming as early as in this November's ballot. So that could be two tax increases, a property tax and a sales tax increase that we would see here in the city of Charlotte this year.
All right. Richard Devane reporting live for us here in Charlotte. Richard, thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, getting right to your weather impact forecast. Now, we cover all the Carolinas here on WCNC Plus, and fire crews in Brunswick County have actually had their hands full with a wildfire. So this first fire began on Friday before being fully contained, but the winds picked up and it was sparked again on Saturday due to high winds hitting certain spots. There were mandatory evacuations in place for nearby residents. The fire is still at 0% containment. The good news is there's a little bit of rain that's going to be on the way. And Brunswick County is the most southeastern North Carolina county, and that mandatory evacuation for 1,500 acres burned right around Boiling Spring Lakes. Now, the good news is the winds are going to get a little bit lighter by tomorrow and the rain is heading their way. But focusing in on Brunswick County, show you exactly where it is, right around Wilmington and Oak Island, so smack dab right in the middle there. They're under a moderate to a severe drought status, so it's this actually part of the state that's a little bit drier than others, so they're a little bit more fire prone, especially the winds picking up. But we're going to see a big shift as far as our rain chances for the eastern Carolinas compared to more of a westerly chance that we just had over the last few days. Our wind gusts today getting to around 18 miles per hour. Same thing goes around Brunswick County, and then by tomorrow those winds should be cut in half overall, and then that's going to bring us to about a moderate gust status today and tomorrow. That's gusts up to about 18 to 20 miles per hour, just some small branches dancing in the breeze. Here's the reason why we're going to see more rain further off towards the east. Check it out. You're going to have that front that's just draped across the shoreline. So once we get a little bit more moisture, once this low starts to lift its way to the north, that's going to be a lot more rain because you have this cutoff low here. It's actually more like a fall-like pattern that's developing, and that's why we kind of have that cool, crisp fall air, even though there are some similarities to spring and fall because they're just on opposite ends of the calendar. But it's this churning of this low that'll lift its way off towards the north, eventually filtering into some great weather by tomorrow. Today, I'm not saying it's not a bad day. We just have more clouds today, and there's also that rain chance for us right here along the Tennessee border up in the mountains. Rain chances begin at noon, cut off by about 7 o'clock, could be heavy at times, and also there's some areas, say from Hickory to Morganton, you get nipped by a breeze brief shower, especially mid to late in the morning. Now, by tomorrow, we'll see a few passing clouds, but all in all, most of the day should be bright and sunny. So another mostly sunny one, at worst, a partly cloudy day. High temperatures right around 76 degrees today. Winds out of the southwest. Today is the breezier day of the two. It's Cinco de Mayo, so if you're going out to celebrate or just going to be out this evening, here's your forecast. Temperatures down to either side of 70 degrees between about 7 and 8 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock down to 62, and it's going to be another chilly one. This morning we dropped down to 52 degrees. I think we're challenging 50. Many of us actually, especially west of I-77, you fell down into the 40s, so I think that happens again. So Gastonia to Lincolnton to Hickory, ranging from about 45 to 49 degrees. And then those 60s, well, those are in the rearview mirror for the time being, mainly the 50s for our lows and then the 70s for our highs. Tomorrow it's 77. I think it's a mostly sunny day. Winds out of the west, which is still a warmer direction. I'm calling tomorrow my pick of the week, actually, and now this is splitting hairs, very similar to what we have today. Feeling great, but then our best chance for rain over the next 10 looks to be Friday, and again heading in on Monday. Here's our complicated long-range forecast. The reason why it took us so long to really iron out the details of when that rain was going to impact us for the festival and the concerts that were happening on Saturday is because the front was slowing down. At this time, it's kind of the opposite. Now we have a front that's already slowed down. We need to know where it's going to go and where it's going to pick back up. And being honest with you, I don't like this current pattern because what's been happening recently a lot this spring, we've had a lot of atmospheric blocking where we've seen now in Kentucky, Oklahoma, many other locations, that there's been some sort of atmospheric traffic jam that's kept rain around for days. When we get to the tropical season, if we still have this type of pattern, that's not the right recipe. So I'm hoping that we start kicking things into gear where it's flowing a little bit more west to east. But this stationary front, the best chance for rain is going to be on Friday as it bends back towards the north and west. If it stalls out over the Charlotte area, we're looking at a complete shift in our forecast where it's going to be a wetter weekend. But as of right now, it looks to be more in the eastern side of the Carolinas. That's going to keep a wetter forecast for the shoreline compared to the western Carolinas, such as Charlotte. High temperatures about 75 to 79 going forward. The Knights are back in town tomorrow. Tomorrow's honestly perfect baseball weather. It feels great also for most of the week. It'll feel a little bit stickier come Friday as we have more moisture, and that's also a good support for our next best rain chance. Once that front starts to bend its way back towards the east, temperatures retreat back to the lower 70s, so below normal, feeling more like April for the next 7 days of May. We know how traffic behaves heading in the 8 o'clock hour. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for good news. Becca's going to tell you the reality.
Chris, it's a pretty easygoing morning so far as we take a live look outside from I-77 at the John Bogue Freeway. Just a little bit slow as drivers head closer into uptown Charlotte. Also a bit slow as we check in on York County I-77 northbound from Fort Mill and Gold Hill Road, especially looking slow as drivers head inbound into uptown Charlotte, and it will likely be stop and go traffic pretty much from York County all the way to uptown Charlotte. Got a couple of new incidents out there. Want to let you know of this active crash on Mallard Creek Road. This is impacting the intersection at Kings Grant Drive. And then addition over towards the Matthews Mid-Hill area. Got another crash being reported on Providence Road at Forbes Road. And you can see those oranges indicating some slowdowns there. Updated drive times right now, Matthews to Uptown up to 27 minutes. Salisbury now at 56, Waxhaw 39, and Belmont an easier 24 minutes.
Becca, thanks. Cleanup now underway this morning after this weekend's Love and Life Festival. The three-day event wrapped up last night. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King was there throughout the weekend and shows us how not even the bad weather could slow down this weekend's fun.
The traffic has been tremendous, actually, been very well.
Thousands made their way in and out of the festival gates on Sunday, soaking up every last note and moment of the music and festivities.
We got Love and Life bandanas. Check me out.
Just outside of the action in 7th Street Market and along the streets,
We have $5 hot dogs.
local shops and small businesses waited, eager to catch the wave of foot traffic.
Basically, the whole festival was inside of this building, so it got pretty hectic.
Many vendors say they spent days preparing for the rush, stocking up and strategizing for what could turn into one of their busiest weekends.
I chose bandanas and towels because it's hot and people sweat and they're cool to look at and they're cool to carry around.
We have to make a lot more of the condiments that go with the chili and the slaw, with the hot dogs. So that takes a lot of time. With the owner, she makes them homemade.
And the planning paid off. Some businesses say they saw sales double. compared to a regular weekend.
Yesterday, I sold all out of my bandanas and a lot of my towels.
We have probably doubled, yes, what we would make.
A lot of people out there this weekend have a great time buying the towels.
You and I were not one of them.
We were not.
But I tell you, I talked to people who went. I had friends who went and had a big time.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the rain in some cases.
Didn't mind it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're young, you're having fun, hanging out, just a little few raindrops.
I mean, we're not those things.
No, we're still fun.
Okay.
Young-ish.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Maybe next year.
All right. Taking a live look now at the White House this morning, where the president is threatening new tariffs this morning for the movie industry. It comes after he met with NBC News Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker to talk about a number of issues, including inflation and tariffs. NBC's Bianca Fascini has more from Washington.
Logically, I mean, the fake news was giving
from the impact of tariffs.
The tariffs are going to make us rich. We're going to be a very rich country.
To the potential for a recession.
Anything can happen, but I think we're going to have the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to have the greatest economic boom in history.
Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker covered a lot of ground in her exclusive interview with President Donald Trump, starting with the economy.
I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job.
The president defended his tariff policy, which polling shows most Americans remain skeptical of, and analysts say could lead to higher prices. Small businesses in particular are asking for relief, but Trump says it isn't necessary.
They're not going to need it.
Okay.
They're going to make so much money.
The president has said immigration is the most important issue of his administration. He told Welker he is fulfilling his campaign promise with mass deportations. But critics say the administration is deporting people without due process and violating the Constitution.
Some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
The sit-down comes just days after the president marked 100 days in office, where the latest NBC News poll shows his approval rating sliding from his inauguration. Only 45% of Americans approve of the job he's doing.
And some other key takeaways. Trump says he doesn't plan on removing Fed Chair Jerome Powell, but does want to see the Fed lower interest rates. And Sunday night, the president announced he wants to reopen Alcatraz. The former federal prison is now a national park. In Washington, Bianca Fascini, NBC News.
8:13 now, happening today. All flags at North Carolina state facilities will be at half staff. It's in honor of National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Day. This is video from a service over the weekend in Maryland. 11 North Carolina firefighters were among those honored. One of those was Battalion Chief Tony Garrison. He died last September while trying to rescue neighbors during Hurricane Helene.
Well, lines at the DMV could even get longer than usual today ahead of Wednesday's Real ID deadline. You're going to need a new ID to fly domestically, get into federal buildings, that sort of thing. Here are a few reminders. If you don't get one by Wednesday, you can still use a passport, a green card, military ID, global entry card as well. If you don't know if you have a real ID, take a look at your card. They're going to usually have a small gold or black star in one of the corners. Finally, before you go to your appointment, make sure you go online to make sure you have all the documents you need, because there's a number of them.
Happening today, jury selection is set to get underway in just hours for the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Last week, Diddy rejected a plea deal from federal prosecutors. However, the exact details of that deal have not been released. The disgraced hip-hop mogul has pleaded not guilty to charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Scary moment in Brazil over the weekend where police foiled a bomb plot at a Lady Gaga concert in Rio. As NBC's Camila Bernal reports, the attackers wanted to target a specific group.
Authorities in Brazil on high alert after a bomb threat at Lady Gaga's concert was averted. Police calling it Operation Fake Monster, saying this was a coordinated attempt at mass murder. 2 suspects, including the alleged ringleader, under arrest. Police saying this was a plan on digital platforms to commit a bomb attack with homemade explosive artifacts and Molotov cocktails, adding it mainly targeted the LGBTQ community. The goal, according to police, terror for fame on social media. But the plan foiled just in time, keeping the more than 2 million people that attended the free concert safe.
Gaga, we love you!
Lady Gaga spokesperson saying in part, prior to and during the show, there were no known safety concerns nor any communication from the police or authorities to Lady Gaga regarding any potential risks. And this not the first time a major pop concert has been targeted. Taylor Swift avoiding tragedy and canceling her Eras tour shows in Vienna last year. Austrian police citing concerns of a terrorist attack. And in 2017, Ariana Grande's Manchester show ended in bloodshed after a bomb killed 22 fans. In Brazil, authorities say prevention paid off. Camila Bernal, NBC News.
All right, take a look at this new video this morning. This is out of Kentucky. You see a semi-truck there dangling off a bridge in Louisville. That's after the driver lost control and hit the rail. Amazingly, officials say that driver was in good spirits as he was hoisted back onto the ground. It then took the crews about 2 hours to pull that cab back from the brink. I would have been panicking.
I don't know that I could say I would be in good spirits.
Yeah. Oh.
I'd be in a stage of like complete disbelief and shock and not able to speak.
An anxiety attack of some sort, I gotta think.
8:16 right now on WCNC Plus. The skies cleared from those weekend showers, but Chris, you've got a different kind of shower you've got your eye on.
Yes, I do. A meteor shower. Excellent segue, my friend. I appreciate it. This is the Eta Aquarian meteor shower. So there's usually a meteor shower roughly every month. Just some are talked about more than others. This is overall a weaker shower. So oftentimes you might see on the internet, whoa, don't miss the Eta Aquarian meteor shower. This is more clickbait. Now, I'm not saying you won't see a shooting star. It's just not one that you're seeing multiple per hour. So as advertised, they're saying, hey, you're going to see 10 to 15 per hour. I don't really think that's the case. So let's learn a little bit more about this. This actually comes from the tail and remnants of Halley's Comet. So all meteor showers are usually the leftovers for comets and asteroids or different asteroid belts that burn up in our atmosphere. So this shower is also a little bit broader, so it lasts a little bit longer. So it technically was over the last couple of nights that you might have seen a shooting star or two, and it's radiating right out of the Aquarius constellation. That's usually what they're named from, wherever they're radiating from. So Orion or the Orionids come from Orion. You kind of get the point. Now, don't expect really more than a few per hour. I think at most maybe you see about 2 to 5. If you do want to check out any meteor shower, here's the best advice for you. Give your eyes about 10 to 15 minutes to adjust, because it's at that point, it's amazing how much you can see. Look to the darkest part of the sky, but don't look at your phone, because every time you look at your phone, well, that night vision is going to reset. We also have another light. It's a 64% full moon, so that is going to be a little blockage as well. But if you don't want to sit out in this one, it's going to be a cool night. We got some other ones. We have the Alpha Capricornids. That is at the end of July, but really, this is one of my favorites, the Perseids. For one, it's a little bit warmer, but in my opinion, the Perseids, I think, is the second best, and it's the Geminids that happen each and every December, usually around the 13th to 14th. That's my favorite, but it's usually a little bit cooler at that point. So if I were to mark my calendar down for any of these, it's definitely going to be the Perseids coming up around August. Another fact, let's talk about the difference between a meteor, meteoroid, and meteorite. Anytime you see it streaking across the sky, the shooting star, that's technically a meteor. Out in outer space, as I like to call it, that is a meteoroid. So if it hasn't hit our atmosphere, it's a meteoroid. Once it hits the ground, well, it is a meteorite, where you might find a meteorite. Well, there you go. Now you know it. As for us, the reason why it's called meteorology is because technically a cloud, a raindrop, is a hydrometeor. Luckily, I don't have any hydrometeors that are going to be falling through the sky today. Let's go check the roads, the rotometeor with Becca.
All right, the rotometer is starting to go up, especially in this spot. This is I-77 at Tondo Avenue, and drivers heading southbound closer to uptown Charlotte will run into some congestion there, a little bit of stop and go traffic. That's going to be the same trend basically from York County inbound into Mecklenburg, although no reports of any active incidents or crashes, at least on the major highways and interstates. That being said, though, still lots of incidents out there. Want to get to the ones that are causing the most problems, including this one. This is going to be South Tryon Street at Yancey Road, causing some slowdowns in and around that area. Plus this one, this is going to be a crash reported at the intersection of Rossell's Ferry Road at Lakewood Avenue. That is still causing some delays in and around that area. You'll want to avoid it.
It's Monday trivia time. Did you know that Charlotte, North Carolina actually had a huge military base? Camp Green had 6,000 acres with 60,000 troops. The year 1917 to 1919, during World War I, Camp Green, and by the way, off Wilkinson Boulevard, there's actually a Camp Green Street. This military base went all the way from that point to the Catawba River. It was a huge military base. That's your Monday trivia. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
8:21 now, time to connect the dots. When we make the news, it makes sense. For many Americans, Cinco de Mayo is an excuse to engorge on margaritas and Mexican food, but it also holds an important historic significance.
Cinco de Mayo is not Mexico's Independence Day. In fact, it actually marks one key battle during a war with France. Let's connect the dots. Back in 1862, a small Mexican army beat back a much larger French force in the town of Puebla. It was a symbolic victory, showing resistance against a European empire trying to take over. The battle didn't end the war, but it gave Mexico hope, and it's why May 5th is still celebrated in Puebla with parades and reenactments. In the U.S., Cinco de Mayo has taken on a different meaning. It's become a day to celebrate Mexican culture, music, and food, especially in cities with big Mexican-American communities. Activists helped raise awareness of the holiday in the 1960s, seeing it as a victory of indigenous triumph. But many still confuse it with Mexican Independence Day, which is actually in September. And that's connecting the dots.
A lot of folks here in Charlotte started their festivities early this past weekend in South Park. The Cinco de Mayo festival featured live music, really good food, and fun for just about everybody. Organizers we spoke to say the interest in this event grows every single year.
We've been doing it for so many years in Charlotte, and we've been seeing the growth of the interest for the festival, so we added more activities.
It's the 5th year for it in Charlotte, 2nd year there in South Park.
Yesterday's weather was perfect for the 15th annual Kings Drive Art Walk. Visitors enjoyed art, crafts, music, and more. The spring festival highlights fine and emerging artists while also bringing the community together. Well, it is Met Gala Monday. Tonight, the stars will be out in New York City, hosted by co-chairs Pharrell Williams, Coleman Domingo, A$AP Rocky, and racecar driver Lewis Hamilton. This year's theme is Tailored for You, in connection with the museum's new exhibition, Superfine, Tailoring Black Style. It will celebrate Black dandyism from the 18th century to its revival in the Harlem Renaissance. And today we are bringing the Met Gala to the Queen City. Charlotte designers and guests showed up in style for Superfine at The Gant, a fashion experience that was celebrating Black dandyism inspired by the Met Gala. This event honored the elegance, detail, and personal expression rooted in African American style, a tradition that traces back to the 1700s. I always look forward to the Met Gala.
I think the Met's cool because at all the award shows, you know, everybody sort of blend in and they have stylists and they do it. But, but like the Met is where like you're really creative, like artists who you might not have even realize go above and beyond. You're like, oh, wow.
Like this is your chance to do it up.
And sometimes it really surprises you. And sometimes
it's a miss.
You're kind of disappointed. You're like, I thought they thought better than that.
Right.
It's always interesting to see.
Like a Coleman Domingo, who everybody thinks he nails it every time, but they're high expectations.
Yes, exactly.
What does he do for the Met Gala?
He nails it every time at all the awards and things like that. So yeah, it makes you wonder. And then usually the Kardashians are there.
This is true.
Sometimes with great fanfare.
Sometimes not so much.
Sometimes not so much.
Anna Wintour also.
Yes. Well, I mean, she should
Right?
be.
She
I mean,
ha-
if
has
she's
to
not,
be.
then, right? All right, 8:24 right now. We are going to take a quick break as we take a live look right now over Uptown on this Monday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Coming up in just about a minute, Chris is going to have a check your forecast. Becca has got a look at your Monday morning commute. And then we're back at 8:30 with headlines right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. What's going on around town? Temperatures recovering nicely, almost up to 60 degrees around the Charlotte area. Oh, look at you, Shaw. You're already into the 60s. And Boone at 46. Now, we are going to have a cooler atmosphere up in the mountains because there's more clouds, and that's the only place where it's going to rain today. As for the Charlotte area, don't be surprised if it is a cloudier ride either side of lunchtime for those clouds to start to erode. Lower 70s turning over to the mid 70s. I have a high of 76 degrees for today. Mid to the upper 70s going forward. I actually bumped a couple of these days up. 78 degrees for tomorrow. That is my pick of the week. And then challenging that 80-degree point for your Thursday. But notice there's an isolated rain chance come Wednesday and Thursday. Now, I think it's a much better potential to have rain rolling into your Friday. Friday, everything is a little bit more favorable. I think we have more cloud cover as well as a backdoor front starts to work toward the area. That's a front that just moves in from the North Carolina shoreline. A little bit cooler, though, heading into the weekend with high temperatures in the lower 70s. Again, Friday, the best chance of rain. The second best chance looks to be next Monday. Becca, what's going on the roads?
Still lots of drivers out there, especially over towards South Charlotte. This is a live look outside from I-77 at Tyvola Road. And it's really those northbound lanes that are really packed, and you can see that dense traffic in and around those areas as drivers head inbound into uptown Charlotte. Also a little bit slow on 85 northbound over towards Gastonia. Got over 10 active crashes across Mecklenburg County, including this one. This is on Mallard Creek Road at Kings Grant Drive at that intersection. And then this one, South Boulevard at Magnolia Avenue, that is causing delays.
Streaming live right now at 8:30 right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Happening today, millions of Americans could start seeing their tax refunds and paychecks taken by the federal government. That's because collections on defaulted student loans are starting back up for the first time since the pandemic.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live with what you need to know and what it means for your wallet. Destiny.
Yeah, there's a lot of financial consequences from this that could affect a lot of people starting today. Right now, there are more than 5 million people who have that default status and another 4 million who are late on paying back their student loans by more than 90 days. And this puts them at risk if they wait to pay any longer, if they wait beyond that status. Now, for the first time since the pandemic, the Department of Education is once again allowed to take money out of paychecks, withhold tax refunds, and seize federal benefits from borrowers who haven't made payments in over 270 days. The Education Department says it's already begun contacting borrowers with options, including income-driven repayment plans and loan rehabilitation, which can stop collections and eventually remove the default status after at least 9 months of consistent payments. This new student loan landscape is not only impacting longtime borrowers, but also students and recent graduates already feeling the strain of a tough economy.
If they're not given that much grace after college, and it'll be really hard to actually survive, especially with this economy.
I'm worried about the future, to be honest. I mean, I'm doing all this so that I can get a career, so I can, live in this world, but things aren't really going so well.
Now, the Education Department says it will be using the Treasury Department's offset program to collect on student loan debt. And under this program, the government has the power to withhold tax refunds, entire tax refunds, and up to 15% of a federal worker's disposable pay. And we also know that the Office of Federal Student Aid is expected to send out notices on wage garnishments, basically taking out paychecks. That is expected to happen later this summer. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Northeast Charlotte.
And Destiny, people need to know that there is help available. If they're trying to figure out how I'm going to restart paying, I need some help, what should I do? There is some help. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, folks who are in that default status, they should have received communication from the Office of Federal Student Aid saying that they have student loans that are in default. And if so, then they're prompted to therefore go to what's called the default resolution group. Contact the default resolution group, and from there they'll be urged to either start back up on monthly payments, also sign up for an income-based repayment plan, or they can also sign up for loan rehabilitation, and that can again erase that default status if they make those consistent payments up to 9 months in a row. And then also, if you're going back onto the scheduled monthly payments, borrowers have to send a federal 1040 tax return, their most recent one, to the U.S. Department of Education, and they can get back on that monthly repayment plan. So lots of steps there. And of course, the immediate thing to know is that you should have received that communication in order to start this process, but if not, definitely check with your student loan provider.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much. Again, this started during the pandemic. I think a number of people just got used to not paying them.
I read only a third of the 43 million people who have student loans, only a third kept paying them this whole time.
Wow.
So you've got a lot of people who are going to
catch up.
Got to start budgeting for this because it's not been in their budget.
And in some cases, that could be a big monthly bill.
Big bill. All right.
Thank you, Destiny.
Thanks. All right, Chris, standing by with a look at your Monday forecast.
Hey, thanks a lot. We are looking at a day that is going to be filled with sunshine, then not so much, and then sunshine again. We're going to have some increasing clouds that are going to be on and off throughout the day. I don't think you're really going to have gloom and doom, but I wouldn't be surprised if you do have some darker cloud bottoms that are already starting to see over here in Lylesville, rolling forward, especially around the lunchtime hour, and then those clouds start to get out of here. That's all associated with this upper level low that's further off towards the west. Well, High Breton Mountain was gorgeous. This is my favorite. Ah, there it is. I knew you wouldn't disappoint me, High Brighton. We're looking at a lot of sunshine. It's nice and bright here at High Brighton, so literally. And then we have more clouds up here. Actually, you can see some cirrocumulus clouds. So we got a mix of some upper level, some mid-level clouds. It's all a testament of that system that's starting to roll in there. Compared to 24 hours ago, well, it's the same for Charlotte. A little bit cooler, about 2 to 5 degrees elsewhere. And it looks like it is going to be another chilly morning by tomorrow. We drop down to either side of 50 degrees. We'll do that again tomorrow. But right now, recovering nicely back into the 50s. Lincoln, did you drop down to 45 degrees this morning? Yikes. Well, we are looking at a great day for golf. There's going to be a crosswind, winds out of the southwest gusting up to about 20 miles per hour. So I guess couple of holes you could maybe blame it on that wind gust, and then more sunshine by the end of the day. It's a lot cloudier again, I think, by the end of the morning heading into the early afternoon. The way things are looking up, we're going to be talking golf here, so that's why I wanted to throw that graphic in here shortly here on WCNC Plus. Here's your future cast. You can see that cloud cover. It's really starting to take over. Here's 9 o'clock. There's 10 o'clock. There's still going to be some breaks in the clouds at this point. Any green dots that you see around the Charlotte area, it's too dry. Maybe a sprinkle squeezes out. That's pretty much it. More sunshine by the end of the day. Meanwhile, really starting at noon to 2 is where we see rain up here in the high country. Rain will be heavy at times. Outside chance at maybe a rumble of thunder, but it's right through here. There's only rain chance that we're seeing at least over the next 2 days. High temperatures right about 76 degrees for today. 80 degrees closer to Shara and around Chesterfield County, and then 79 over in Rockingham. Here's that bottom that I'm talking about. This morning we dropped down to 52 degrees in Charlotte. We'll be at 50 degrees in the Charlotte area, Mecklenburg County. West of I-77, I think we're doing the 40s again, about 45 to 49, even close to 40 degrees around Boone. And we were mentioning the Eta Aquarids. That officially is the last peak later on tonight, even though it does technically go through Tuesday night, but smack dab in the middle of that. So give yourself some time to adjust, but realistically, if you're out and about, maybe just look up and you might see a passing shooting star. I wouldn't really dedicate too much time because the technical peak's at 2 a.m., and I don't know if you have time for that. Tomorrow, we are venturing our sights close to 80 degrees into the upper 70s. I love this day. I think it's going to be a comfortable 78 with more sunshine today. So that was an easy choice for my pick of the week. Enjoy it. Then after that, we're going to see a few more showers, and then I think our best chance for rain really rolling forward is going to be isolated activity heading into Friday. So coming up, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about our rain potential. I'll show you our extended future cast, but you can see here for our Guy Roofing 70 forecast, 80 degrees is the warmer side on Thursday. Should be a little bit cooler into the weekend as of right now, looking at the lower 70s. Now up next, Becca, giving you an updated report on how our roads behaving. So far, it hasn't been a manic Monday.
Yeah, so far so good out there. In fact, traffic actually starting to calm down as rush hour traffic slowly comes to an end out there as we take a live look outside. This is I-77 at I-485 over towards southern Mecklenburg County. You can see those clear blue skies and, of course, a great view of Carowinds there and traffic moving along nicely. Do want to let you know of this new crash, and this is blocking one lane of traffic on I-485 inner ramp at Wilkinson Boulevard, and you can see one lane currently blocked there on the right-hand side. Here's big picture, and here are all the traffic incidents across the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. Want to get to ones that are causing the most delays, including this one. This is going to be on Idlewild Road at the intersection of Independence Boulevard. Just minor delays associated with that crash. And then still have this active crash. This is on Providence Road at Forbes Road. And you can see those yellows indicating some minor slowdowns in and around that area. Right now, drive times Matthews to Uptown Charlotte at 29 minutes, Salisbury 52, Waxhaw 39, and Belmont 24 minutes.
Thanks, Becca. Next week, another huge event takes over the Queen City. We're talking about the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow.
It's the second time the championship has come to Charlotte, the last time back in 2017, and it is expected to generate millions of dollars. Here to talk about it this morning, Sean Flynn from the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority. Sean, thanks for coming on a Monday morning. We appreciate it.
Hi, yes, thank you. Nice to be here with you.
Hey, what kind of economic impact are you expecting from something like this when the PGA comes to Charlotte? And also, out of curiosity, how do you figure something like that out?
Well, we at the CRBA are not projecting an economic impact for the PGA Championship, but we do know historically it has been very, very impactful. In 2017, the PGA Championship brought $100 million in economic impact to our community. So very, very large amount. The President's Cup took place in 2022, $131 million. So these large strategic events like major championships really do the job and help our community with economic impact to a great extent.
And these impacts are across the board, because it's not just about golf. I mean, even those who aren't impacted by that, it's the hotels, the restaurants, retail, transportation, businesses, large and small.
That's right. It'll be comprehensive across the community. And it's not just the visitors that are in the restaurants and the hotels and the attractions, right? It's also the direct work that the league is doing with different vendors that help support the tournament: transportation, shuttle services, parking, food and beverage, working on those hospitality locations within the tournament, local vendors doing that, housing for players and staff, and small details like floral, printing, signage. All those vendors will be very busy this week for the PGA Championship.
You mentioned the President's Cup. Then, of course, we had the ACC tournament this spring. How do these events specifically play into our city as a sports destination?
Well, the PGA Championship and events like it put Charlotte truly on a global stage. It reinforces our reputation as a premier sports city that can host high-profile events. It demonstrates the capabilities of our community to have visitors come in and have a great time in our destination. Lots of focus will be on Charlotte. The tournament will be broadcast on ESPN and CBS during the course of the week. And last year, the PGA tournament drew an average of 5 million viewers. So lots of eyeballs on Charlotte this week for this tournament.
And Sean, assuming that this is a big success, and I'm sure it will be, what other events does the city help attract with something like this being so successful?
Well, it's a catalyst for long-term growth. No question about that. We'll have attention paid to Charlotte regarding on a national and global scale. Event planners, businesses that are looking to invest will see the tournament take place in Charlotte this week and will be attracted to our destination. And it will also strengthen our case to hold future major sporting events and also conventions. There's a layering effect here as Charlotte gets more frequently hosts big strategic events like this. Again, we demonstrate our capabilities, and it attracts future events as well,
including perhaps a Super Bowl. Still years away, though, years away from that. But I know that's always the ultimate goal for city leaders. All right, Sean Flynn with the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority. Sean, thanks. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8:42 right now here on WCNC Plus. Charlotte's tourism industry getting a colorful new addition as well. The popular Lezoom comedy bus tours now rolling into the Queen City.
Those tours promise to showcase Charlotte's history and culture with a unique comedic twist. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us live this morning. Now, Miles, these have already had a lot of success in Asheville, and now they're here in Charlotte.
That's absolutely right there, Lisa. Yeah, this bus tour company here, Lezoom, they've been doing that for about 20 years in Asheville, offering similar tours. But now they're bringing their talents and entertainment here to the Queen City, offering a unique brand of comedy tours throughout Charlotte.
It's an experience through Charlotte that is sure to make you laugh. The unmistakable purple buses feature open-air seating and plenty of character.
We really show off the city and show off comedy as well.
Kyle Samples, the director of marketing and sales with the Lezoom, says that one of their tours even ties in music.
Really a triple entendre. So we put a 4-piece local Charlotte band on the bus. We rotate through about 8 to 10 right now. We get you on the bus, buy a ticket, get on the bus. You can bring your own beer and wine if you want to. And we drive you around, you listen to great music, and we stop at 3 different local breweries and let you out to drink.
These 90-minute experiences blend history with humor, helping new and long-standing Charlotte teens create what the company calls interactive theater on wheels.
We go through a lot of the really cool, interesting neighborhoods that you're not going to see driving around or walking around by yourself. And you also get this sense of the artistic community that Charlotte has to offer.
Lisa and Ben, let's say that, for example, you are not interested in maybe the live music when you're on a bus tour, but they have other options as well. They are also doing in Charlotte a ghost tour, and they're also unveiling this summer a Hey Charlotte tour, which is actually going to be geared towards even expanding and offering that bus tour for even younger guests as well. Now, for more information as far as where those buses are going, as far as trying to even get those tickets, you can find that by going to either our website, downloading our WCNC Charlotte mobile app, clicking on this story and getting all of that information and more. But really, what a cool concept here to kind of get that bus tour, but in a unique sense, with laughter, with music, all in one while visiting and throughout Charlotte. Lisa and Ben.
And whether you're new here or you've been here for decades, it's a great way to learn about Charlotte. Right. Although I will say, after 3 stops at a brewery, I'm not sure how much you're going to remember about it, but it's going to be good nonetheless. Miles, remind us again, where does it stop? And
that's what makes you want to keep going.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. That's the part of the appeal. Where does it start, and how much is it again?
Yeah, so it starts in Camp North End, actually. So they'll have a bus pick you up in Camp North End, right over here where Free Range Brewing is, and it's a 90-minute bus tour. So you're going to hit up 3 different breweries along that process as well, and it's going to drop you off right here as well.
All right.
Interesting. All right. Thank you so much, Miles. I was thinking about that. You can bring your own beer and wine, and you can go to 3 breweries. How much are you going to remember of that?
You won't remember a thing. It's going to be a great time.
It'll be memorable.
That's true. 8:46 right now on WCNC Plus. Check this out. In this economy, a lot of folks looking for interesting ways to make money. One side hustle, you've probably seen it, and it's gaining a lot of traction, called petfluencing. NBC's Vicky Nguyen has more.
When people see me, they say, OMG, I want one.
Fig the tortoise has more than 3 million followers across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
I've got Fig with me today.
While he's the star, 5 cats, along with a Dutch Shepherd and a Euromastix lizard, make up the menagerie for the account Through the Leaves, earning enough money to keep Chastity Hobbs and her husband employed full-time since 2022.
Last year, we made around $400,000.
Wow.
It really, really surprised me.
Why did you decide to share with folks how much you're earning as a petfluencer?
Well, when I was a vet assistant, I had 1 cat at the time, and I could barely afford his vet bills when he got sick. So when I got into this and realized just the potential that there is to earn, and now I can rescue more animals.
Hobbs, who started her career as a vet assistant, then a travel blogger, says it's not about the money.
My whole mission is just to help educate people on proper care for, exotic pets, normal, regular cats and dogs.
And special needs pets, too. Her 3 blind cats, who lost their sight to disease as kittens, sat in a shelter for 3 years before she adopted them.
People should adopt more special needs pets. They're really no different than any other cat.
Globally, there were about 3.5 million active petfluencer accounts as of January of 2025, according to Sprout Social. But unlike fashion or beauty content, posting about your pets requires patience.
How many hours do you put into this each day or each week?
Typically, I'll spend about 2 or 3 hours in the morning doing all the pet chores. I make all of their food homemade. I usually work between 4 and 5 hours a day, and then back to pet chores at the end of the day.
Pet content has always been popular online, according to Sulafa Zidani, who studies global internet culture.
Even from the 90s, the earliest memes had hamsters and cats. We had the Can I Has Cheeseburger and Lolcats memes. We had Nyan Cat in the 2010s and Grumpy Cat, God rest his soul.
She applauds creators who try to be transparent with their audiences about how and why they make their content.
The transparency, I think, is very informative and frankly humbling sometimes, because while we're seeing these huge numbers that might be shocking to some of us, once we see the amount of work that goes into it, I think it begins to also make sense.
What are you doing up here? Don't ignore me.
What do you think it is about your videos that attracts followers? People love French bulldogs.
Allie Mortensen started her account, French Bulldog Behavior, back in 2023. She says she made about $6,000 last year from sponsored posts, making ads for brands, and commissions from linking to their products on Amazon.
They can pay you anywhere between $300 per post to $1,000 per post. It really depends on your engagement.
Money talks. Money talks.
While she doesn't plan to quit her full-time job as an aerospace engineer, Mortensen says petfluencing allows her to help dog owners.
A lot of people aren't educated prior to becoming Frenchie owners, so providing a lot of content that was educational about how to care for your Frenchie and provide them the best life was really where I started seeing a ton of traction and engagement on my videos.
Next up for Hobbs, launching pet enrichment products like this cat puzzle toy.
What is it that you hope these accounts do for the public?
I really hope it just inspires people to take better care of their pets, provide their pets with enrichment and just a really happy life.
Vicky Nguyen, NBC News.
You know, my scout has an Instagram account.
Oh.
Really?
I did not know this.
She hasn't posted in like a year or so, but
lazy.
I know.
Scout should get on it.
It's a lot of work being a pet influencer, as I found out. The real highlight of the whole thing was Lester Holt's Labradoodle started following Scout the Bernedoodle.
Whoa!
How about that?
That's good.
And then we never posted it again.
Yeah, no, it seems like an easy out.
Right.
For any of us, I actually started because I'm like, well, I don't want to flood my social media feed with my dog all the time. So I'll give a place, but then you realize, okay, then you just have two accounts.
Something else to manage.
Like, I don't want to do that either.
And creating that content and turning it out on a regular basis. But I mean, it could pay off. Look at
if you are devoted to it and creative. Yes, that's the other. Let me just say this: you think your dog's cute.
Right.
But not everybody else is. Like, you got to be like a really creative hustler who thinks outside the box and like as a way of doing it.
Consistently.
Yeah, a cute dog pic will only get you so far.
Right.
However, any talking bird I'm down for.
Are you?
Yeah, that's me. Not to own, but just for a short sample on the internet.
Okay.
Down for that. We are looking at a beautiful day, and I also have my cat of the day, Seaweed. I think Seaweed's going to take off. Now, Seaweed is a brand new member of the family. They actually just got Seaweed recently. So, Emma, thank you so much for sending Seaweed along. Hopefully, you and your husband are really happy. And clearly, Seaweed just had a nice little snack here, and I also heard Seaweed met another friend, brother or sister, wasn't really too sure, another cat. Going to be a great out your window forecast, looking at a nice mix of clouds and sunshine with temperatures getting into the mid-70s. I do this each and every day here on WCNC. I'll try to feature more here on WCNC Plus. Just scan this QR code and I could be featuring your pet. Maybe your pet's already gone viral, or maybe this is going to help put them over the edge. All right, end scene. Thanks a lot, Cody. I always love it when you ramp up the music for me. This is our jet stream pattern. Don't really have any good music for that. Up and down, up and down. So there's a technical term in meteorology called atmospheric blocking. Pretty much I like to refer it as atmospheric traffic jam. I've done traffic here, so it's nice to mesh the two. This right here is called an omega block because it looks like the omega symbol in Greek letters. But once it starts to shift in this direction, this is actually called a Rex block. So we have two of the definitions. If you go into a meteorology textbook, Rex block, omega block, we have them both this week. And that's why we don't really have a lot that's shifting. It's not until this finally gets to its usual up and down motion. This is still omega E, but it's not a huge blocking mechanism. So the atmosphere will start to get going later on next week, as it usually does. Now, it goes up and down all the time, but when you have one system that's going north to south directly, as this one is, and then it starts to stall out, that's not necessarily a good thing. Now, luckily, it kind of gets moisture starved as it moves up to the Great Lakes and is going to be affecting us eventually. And then it's not until a little bit later on the week that we have our better chance for rain. It's this stationary front that starts to creep its way further off towards the north. As long as that's going to be here, that's going to give us a chance for rain here in the Carolinas. I think it's a little bit better chance really on Fridays. It gets a little bit close to us, but these stationary fronts, when you don't have a direct flow from the jet stream, are really tough to forecast. Why? They're kind of out there on their own. They're rogue. They're that unpredictable friend. You don't know what they're going to do next. By the way, I'm that unpredictable friend. You don't know what he's going to do next. So I'm like the stationary front, dancing around, doing a shimmy, whatever it is, and then you're going to see those on and off showers further off towards the shoreline. So keep that in mind. Best chances for rain really around Friday, heading into Monday, and then beyond that, we have temperatures that are trending up tomorrow morning will be the coolest. And then for our high temperatures, looks like we'll range anywhere from the lower 70s this weekend back to more of the 80s about a week and a half from today. So there's your 10-day forecast. Up next, we have Becca with an update on our morning commute. And actually, it could be worse, as I've heard before.
It could be way worse. In fact, this is one of the good and clear spots this morning. This is I-77 at WT Harris Boulevard, and there are no issues as you head out the road in this area. Do want to let you know of this new crash. We just got an updated image from this. This is on outbound northbound Graham Street at that I-85 southbound ramp. You can see that crash is currently on the right-hand shoulder, also likely blocking one lane of traffic. Also keep that in mind if you're headed in and out there. Do you still have this active crash? This is impacting the I-485 inner ramp at Wilkinson Boulevard, currently blocking one lane of traffic on that right-hand side. Want to let you know that this crash on Idlewild Road at Independence Boulevard has cleared, so you will not have to worry about that on your morning commute. Also same for Providence Road at Forbes Road. Zooming out, big picture, still lots of red indicating some slowdowns, especially coming from 77 northbound from York inbound into Mecklenburg County.
All right, Becca, thanks. Hey, folks, keep it right here. Another check of your forecast and traffic coming up in just a few minutes. And then at the top of the hour, 9 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus, Jane Monreal is going to take over from our live Impact Stream studio. She's going to be talking about the conclave set to start on Wednesday. All that and more come your way right here on WCNC Plus. Keep us up all day.
Well, good morning, everyone. Temperatures up to 63 degrees already around the Charlotte area. Get outside and enjoy this beautiful day. If you loved yesterday, you're going to love today. High temperatures right around the mid-70s today, a little bit warmer than yesterday. Of course, warmer to the southeast and cooler up in the mountains. The reason why, that chance for rain. You're going to have some on and off showers really starting between about noon to 2 right along the Tennessee border. That's going to be your highest potential for some rain going forward. As for our extended forecast, our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast showing those temperatures trending in a upward direction really for the near term. That's going to be high temperatures right about the mid to the upper 70s before we're cooling off into the lower 70s by the weekend. Becca?
Chris, rush hour traffic is starting to come to an end as we take a live look outside from I-77 at I-85. I'd say I-77 still just a little bit packed as drivers head inbound into uptown Charlotte. Do want to let you know of this active crash blocking one lane of traffic. This is on outbound northbound Graham Street at I-85 southbound ramp. You'll want to avoid the area.